Hey, how's it going, everyone? So, happy 4th of July. I've actually been out of the shop since Thursday. Well, actually, the last day I worked here was Wednesday of last week. Then I was off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I was off today, too, but I'm coming in to get stuff done. I got to get stuff done personally. One of my customers called me up. This is a 2012 Malibu. This is the one that I did the water pump on. This is a 2.4 liter, and I showed that Lyle tool, or I think it was a Lyle tool. I don't even recall now. But it's like the half-shaped thing that holds the gear, and then I drop the bolt inside the motor. This is that same vehicle. So anyway, she's a good customer of mine, so I want to take care of her. And she said she's hearing a noise in the front end, and it's concerning her. So she didn't know what was going on, but she wanted me to look at it. So I said, okay, I'll look at it for you, not a problem. I was planning on coming in anyway today just to do stuff that I need to get done. I have a lot of things going on right now, and some of you know what I have going on. It's all for the good. It's all good stuff. So hopefully I can elaborate a little more shortly. A couple of weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. Anyway, so I'm going to take this Malibu for a ride. I'm going to see if I can't figure out what she's talking about, and then get it on a lift and see exactly what's going on, because I'm not even sure. Could it be a brake issue? Could it be a wheel bearing issue? Sure, anything's possible. So let me get this in and see if I can't figure it out. So how many miles are on this car now? Let's see. It's got no check engine lights or anything. Got 129.3. So I don't remember what the mileage was when I worked on it last, but she did have the oil change since then. So yeah, I know she maintains her car. That I know for a fact. All right, so let's go for a ride. Let's see if we can't pick up what she's talking about, and see if we can't figure that out. All right, let's go for a ride. So just cruising down the road in front of the shop. Everything sounds normal. The car feels normal. I'm doing 55. I haven't hit the brakes yet, other than in the parking lot coming to a stop when I went to go pull out. But, I mean, everything feels normal. Everything sounds normal. I don't hear a wheel bearing noise. So maybe, like she told me this when I was going away last week. So, let's see what we got going on here. I'm about to hit the brakes any second here. Oh, let's see. Turn signal on. I don't hear anything. She had it in for an oil change. I wonder if... I don't hear anything. I'm in the parking lot for the Department of Motor Vehicles here. Of course, everything here is closed today. Give her a call, see what she's talking about. Actually, maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on a lift first and give it a safety check. Because this happens way more than you actually realize, where people will bring a car in and I can't duplicate what the concern is. And sometimes you got to drive it with the customer. I'm actually going to take it up on the highway. Well, it's Route 17 is what it is, but at least you can go 65 there. I'm going to go up there, see what it does there, see if I can't hear anything, duplicate anything. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put it on a lift, and we're going to do a safety inspection. Just give it a general look over, see if everything's good. And we're going to go from there. If I don't see anything, then I'm going to call her and just say, hey, you know, everything I checked checks out good. Because that's the thing, too. When you get a car and you can't, especially like if it's a suspension noise or a drivetrain noise or a brake noise or some type of a complaint like that, you'd be surprised. There's some weird stuff that can happen that you may not be able to notice right away. You know, maybe the brake's got to be super heated up. Maybe it's got to be a certain temperature outside. But if you don't give it a good look over it, now, yes, I have a lift that I can use. Not everybody has a lift, and I understand that, and I get that. You got to use jack stands and stuff like that. but always give a good look, because you could have a bad axle. You could have I've seen bad tie rod ends, believe it or not, create a clacking noise going down the road, because you have a bad, let's say, inner tie rod or outer tie rod. A lot of times though, with those, you'll wind up with a pull under acceleration. Like, actually, you're going straight, you're just cruising, and the car goes fine, but as soon as you hit the gas to accelerate, it'll pull one way or the other. A lot of times with that, and you'll feel like all of a sudden one way or the other pull. And usually with that, that's a tie rod or a ball joint or something along those lines, a control arm, anything like that. So what you want to do is, anytime you got something like this where you can't really verify what's going on, pull the wheels off if you can, or at least get underneath there and actually do like a safety check, make sure everything's okay, because it's very easy to overlook stuff. So, all right, I mean, I'm doing 65 right now. Car sounds perfectly fine. I do not hear any issues. Was it something that just happened one time and she got concerned? Because she's been driving it for 5 days. I mean, I'm going 70, I feel a very slight tire vibration. Like maybe the tires are slightly out of balance. Possible. But that's not going to create a noise that she's talking about unless you had a cup tire. Alright, so now, there it is. There it is. Okay. It's a brake pulsation. But it's aggravated. It's aggravated by, there's a tire vibration too. I hit the brakes and I felt like but I felt it in the steering wheel. The best way I can describe it is by making the noise. But it was like just on a light touch of the brakes. All right, so maybe I need a pair of rotors. We're gonna get it on a lift and we're gonna find out. All right, let's see if I can get it to do it here. No, I'm not going fast enough. Let me get on the main road here. There's the main road in front of our shop. Let's just get out here and just wait for traffic. But it's getting worse as the brakes get heated up, so I got a warped rotor. But like I said, I also got a tire vibration. So the two are acting against each other and making it worse than it initially appeared. Speed limit's only 35 here, so I gotta wait till I'm out of this zone before I can speed up. Plus I want to let the truck get a little bit ahead of me. There's my Advanced Auto Parts. My favorite parts guy, Eric, is the parts guy there for commercial accounts. Probably one of the best parts guys I've ever met. That's a dying breed, unfortunately, having good parts guys. And a good parts guy can save you a lot of aggravation, let me tell you. Alright, so I'm going to speed this up a little bit. The speed limit here is 55. I'm going to speed it up a little bit as soon as I get to the straightaway. Alright. There we go, I'm going 65. It was actually worse before. I think the brakes cooled off a little bit. Yeah. That's a warped rotor. That's what that is. Because it didn't do it right away, and I had to hit the brakes a couple more times, let them reheat. Get heated back up, and that's when it started doing it. So, all right, we're gonna get this in. Also, it's possible I could have a slightly loose tie rod that is adding to that. So we're gonna have to find out. All right, Mo is moving stuff here. So let me, whoops, and there's Gary Stanley Towing. Let me get past him. All right, let's get inside the shop here. Some of you guys have commented that it appears I work at a junkyard. I do. This place is actually a junkyard, technically. That's why we have such a yard filled with stuff. And of course they keep it like a junkyard, but that's another story. But they're great guys, so hey, it is what it is. So let me just check to see what's in the shop, get this in the shop. Actually, my truck is in the backyard and I got to go through the shop to get out. So let me get that out first because I need my truck. All right, yeah, let's do that. All right, so I got the Malibu up in the air and just giving the wheel a shake. There's nothing loose. Everything seems nice and tight. So now, as far as the tire vibration goes, these front tires, they're on their wear bars. This thing needs tires. This one's close. So this isn't even a situation where you would even bother balancing them. These need to be replaced. Now the pads themselves, I can tell they're kind of worn down. So we're gonna get a set of pads and rotors for this. Let's look at the back real quick. See what we got in the back. And the backs themselves, they look okay from what I can see. But I'm gonna pull all four wheels off and just to see what they look like. But the rear tires themselves are in very good shape. Well, at least that one is. Yeah, this one is, okay, this one needs to be replaced too. So she needs 3 tires. So let's pull the front wheels off. Let's pull the rear wheels off. And let me get my flashlight. Maybe I can get a better view of those brakes. I don't know if you can see from there. I think they're okay. Hard to tell. But sometimes I can get a better view with the flashlight and see what I got going. Hard to tell. All right, let's see. So we got all 4 wheels off. Looking at the front brakes, the pads are pretty well worn down, as you see in there. That's the material in there. That little tiny bit that's left inside there. Let's go to the rear. Just see what we have here. When in doubt, pull all the wheels off. This way you know for certain. And there's plenty of meat on those pads. Plenty of material. Some people ask, what do you mean by meat? Yeah, there's plenty of life left in those. I'd definitely leave them alone. So, we're going to get a set of front pads and front rotors. So let me call around so you can get me the best price. So now with knowing that it's going to need front brakes, you can see it's got lines in there from wear and stuff like that. Like I said, we're just going to replace the rotors at this point. So basically just take the caliper off, the bridge off. Taking the caliper off, you got the 2 pin bolts there, pretty simple. If you're using a gear wrench, I've said it before, never break a bolt loose with the gear wrench end of a gear wrench. Always use the box end. If you have a double gear wrench, get yourself a box end wrench to take that apart. So we're going to get these out. And then we got to make sure these actual pins here are sliding correctly. So let's get this apart. I'm not going to walk you through this entire process. I've done other videos on this. So let me just get this apart. With the caliper off and to the side, don't let it hang from the hose because you can actually ruin the hose. It's just got it sitting right there right now. Make sure these things move nice and free, which they do. Pop the pads out, and they feel like they slide relatively easy. So we're not concerned about this. The car is well maintained. I know the girl rather well, and she does take care of her stuff. So take the pad out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get the bridge out. We're going to get the rotor off. I'm going to go pick up the parts. Then we're going to clean the bridge here, or bracket, whatever you want to call it. I usually like to use the old clips. I don't like to use the new clips. I found too many times where new clips will actually touch the rotor somewhere and create noise. So if I can avoid changing the clips, I usually do. I will usually reuse the clips if possible. So let me get this bracket off. We're just going to go get the parts, and then we're going to put this all back together. It's beyond hot here today, so I'm sorry, but we got fans everywhere. So here's a new rotor. Put it on. I usually take a lug nut, stick it on backwards. If you don't have an open acorn lug nut, stick like a large nut over it, and then use a regular lug nut to like lock it down in place. This holds it in place. This way it makes your life easier going back together. Let's see. Here I took the caliper bracket. I basically took a wire brushed it, and then I put some of that brake lube on there. I don't know why this thing keeps adjusting. Focus enhancer. Okay, I gotta shut that off. Yeah, so now we're just going to bolt this on, and we're going to put this all back together. Make sure you're careful when you compress the piston. Try not to use a pair of pliers. Use some kind of a C-clamp or something like that to do it. Like I said, this video is not in regards to doing the brake pads and rotors. I've already showed you that in other videos. I mean, in the future I'll make another video, but just right now I don't have the time to get that accomplished. So we're just going to assemble all of this, get the other side together, and then we're going to re-road test this. So the brakes and everything are all together. I'm back in the vehicle. I did check the fluid level's fine. It's actually right to the top. What's the first thing you do after doing brakes when you get in a vehicle? The very first thing you do, pump the brakes. So here, what I'm going to do is now, had that kept going to the floor, then I know I'd have an issue. But now it feels fine. So I'm not worried about the fluid level being too low, because as you pump it, fluid level goes low. If you ever have a car that comes in because the brake light's on, or somebody complaining the brake light's on, or your car, or whatever, brake light's on the dashboard, a little red light, and you check and the fluid level's low. Why is the level low? 9 times out of 10, it's because the brake pads are low. The calipers on the pistons have to come out to take up that gap. What takes up that gap is fluid. Fluid level gets low. You compress the piston. If you just add fluid to it and then all of a sudden go do the brakes, you compress the pistons and you get fluid all over the place. I can almost guarantee you every time the fluid level gets low enough to throw a light on, you probably need pads. Most likely. Not every time. You could have a leak too. It's always possible. So let's go take this thing for a ride. We're going to burnish the brakes and then we're going to finish it up. What's burnishing brakes? I'll show you. Alright, so heading down the road. I always say alright when I start off. I don't know why. I just do. So heading down the road, get up to about 50. And then I do a slow, progressive stop. Burnishing brakes is basically you're breaking them in. No pun intended. But you do a slow stop. I'm going to accelerate again. You want to put some heat in the brakes. You don't want to go nuts putting heat in them. I know some people that would actually get in there and slam on the brakes right off the beginning. Get some heat in it right away. But to me, that's a little too extreme. There are specific procedures to do it. Each brake manufacturer is slightly different. How much of a difference does it actually make? Good question. But I'm going to pull up here to the DMV, hit the brakes again, and then usually what I do is after I get some heat in it, then I'll do a few little more abrupt stops. Like I'm slowing down from 55. Not crazy, just like a normal slow down to make a turn. Now I'm pulling into DMV. And the thing is, you don't want to come, if you can all avoid it while you're doing this, try not to come to a full and complete stop. Because what happens, you come to a full and complete stop, and you sit there with your foot on the brake. Like right now, I can't do a full complete stop, but I took my foot off the brake. If you sit there and you have your foot on the brake, the heat from the pads and the heat from the rotor, you could wind up with a hot spot on the rotor. So I'm going to do a couple more abrupt stops once I get out on the road. And sometimes you'll even see smoke coming off the rotors when you come to a stop, which is kind of normal because a lot of rotors come with an oil on them, and that oil will actually burn off. So the new rotors, I don't know if I explained it too, you take brake clean and you wipe the braking surfaces on both sides. You don't have to go crazy. And if they're painted rotors with like the gray paint on them, you don't have to clean the paint off. The brake pads will scrub it off. So now I'm doing 60 and I'm going to do a little more of an abrupt stop. As soon as I come to a stop, take my foot off the brake. Alright, so there we are, we're doing 60. Got a car coming up behind me, so I don't want to just slam on the brakes here. Pay attention to your surroundings too when you're doing stuff like this. Just holding steady pressure on the pedal. Alright, let me complete a road test and then we're going to get back to the shop. But doing that will help burnish the brakes, get them basically broken in. and you should be good. Like right now, I'm actually coming up to a stoplight. So when I get to the stoplight, I'm not going to sit there with my foot on the brake. I'm actually going to pop it into neutral. This way I don't sit there with my foot on the brake. So, all right, let's just continue the road test. We're going to go from there. And here we are up on a highway. I'm doing 75, but let me do that brake stop like I did before, because the brakes are hot. And you can see we got no vibration in the steering wheel and that, so that's all good. It was a slightly warped rotor or something like that, so we're all good with that. All right, so I'm going to actually end the video there. I think that's pretty darn good. If you're getting something out of my videos, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. Also, if you notice down in the description, I have links to some items on Amazon, rather. And it's stuff that I use. It's stuff that I own, personally use, and stuff like that. Good stuff, and it's, you know, for the at-home mechanic, the at-home do-it-yourselfer. It's also it's good stuff. I mean, I'm a professional and I use it. So, but it's budget-friendly stuff. You know, even, you know, I don't look to just, you know, throw my money away. But when I need good stuff, I buy the good stuff. You know, the Snap-on and stuff like that. So, but anyway, so you'll see that down there. So, if you could just click on it, even if you just click on it, that's all I ask, because the clicks help me. I get like this much. Trust me, like I said before, I got to keep a full-time job. So this ain't paying for itself yet. Maybe a couple of years from now, but not yet. Anyway, that's it. So hopefully you're getting something out of my videos. If you already hit that like button, if you could, please subscribe. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.